Hello, Dr. Brant Hulsebus here, and welcome to another edition of Ask the Chiropractor. Ask the Chiropractor is my little podcast that I do. When someone has a question about chiropractic or chiropractic care, I try to answer. I'm a chiropractor here in Rockford, Illinois. I'm a proud graduate of Palmer College of Chiropractic, and I'm happy to be the team chiropractor of the Rockford Ice Hogs. Let's dive into it. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Ask the Chiropractor. Our lower back series that I've been doing here the last several weeks have got a lot of comments and people asking questions. So I'm not going to stop doing them until somebody asks me a question about something else. So this is a question that every chiropractor gets asked everywhere, and I have no exception here in Rockford, Illinois. I'll be out and somebody will come up to me. I'm having this lower back pain. What stretch will fix this? And I always laugh at that because stretching alone isn't going to fix your back pain. It never has. I've never seen it do it. I see it give temporary, sometimes extremely temporary relief, but it doesn't get rid of the problem. We got to get rid of the situation that's causing your muscle to tight to make you want to stretch it more than I just need a good stretch. We hear it all the time. They come in, they want to get one adjustment, and me teach them the one stretch. That secret magical chiropractic stretch that we all know that we're hiding from you. So to me, it's funny because if stretching worked, I mean, all your pain would be gone, right? So, if you would have found the stretch by now, some of the behaviors that we see a lot of people doing that come in and tell me, I saw this guy, he's supposed to be a back guru on YouTube and I've been doing his stretch. I'm like, well, you must not be that much of a guru because you're here. He didn't work. Or they have their morning stretching routines. Like every day before I get out of bed, I do this and this. Or somebody showed me how to use a foam roller to get rid of all my problems. What do you think about that? Now, as I talk about these things, I want to make it crystal clear. I am a huge fan of stretching. I am a huge fan of using a foam roller. I'm a huge fan. If you were to go I live here in Rockford, Illinois. If you went down the road in the morning when I'm working out, you would see me stretching and using a foam roller before I exercise. These are great tools to keep a healthy back healthy. These will not make an unhealthy back healthy. So if you want to keep a good thing going, you want to keep your spine in alignment, even to the chiropractor, you got your adjustment, they corrected the subluxations, you're feeling great. How do I keep this going as long as possible? Stretching routines, foam rolling, those are great things to do to keep it going, but they don't fix it. So why does stretching always feel like the right answer if it doesn't fix it? You have a tight muscle because something in your back is wrong. And stretching that tight muscle, making that one of those symptoms, one of the components of your back being misaligned going away, there is a short-term relief of that. There is something that says, you know what, I do feel a little better right now. I'm going to dive back into doing everything I was just doing that caused that muscle to be angry. What do I mean by that? Let's say I'm shoveling snow and my lower back starts to hurt. Because I have a misalignment, a bigger problem in my lower back, we should all be able to shovel snow pain-free. But if I have an underlying thing going on, I do a stretch. Okay, I feel a little better. I'm going to shovel a little bit more. I do a little bit more and it comes back faster this time. So I stretch it again. I can keep going. I do it again. But now it hits me even quicker again. This is not from a lack of stretching. This is not from a muscle being wrong. There's an underlying condition that keeps talking to you more and more. So a lot of people feel like stretching will help because they're able to get their job done, but it's not fixing it. Another big thing that makes people think stretching is good, like I talked about earlier, some guru they see on social media, some chiropractor somewhere on the other part of the country telling you this is the cure for all your lower back pain, my one stretch. And they're just doing this to get views. They're getting this to get people to watch their video. There's no magical one cure. And matter of fact, a lot of those, if you're doing them, can make you worse because you might have a different condition than what they're describing in the video that you don't know, and you're doing the stretch and you're actually making yourself worse. Your chiropractor could actually help you do that right. So what's the difference between flexibility, mobility, and stability? That's easy. Your flexibility is how much you can touch your toes. Your mobility is about how much you can move, but your stability is about how you can control all this. So stretching is great, Stretching helps with the flexibility. Stretching helps to make it a little bit more mobile, but it doesn't really do a lot for stability. If you listen to my podcast in the past, I've talked about the 4 types of muscles. 4 types of muscles. I know there's only 3. Today in the research, you're showing there's a 4th type of muscle. You have your skeletal muscle, your biceps and your leg muscles. You have your smooth muscle and your blood vessels, and you have your cardiac muscle and your heart. Today they're saying there's stabilization muscles too. And these stabilization muscles are located throughout your core, and they're the ones that keep your balance. Now, they look like a skeletal muscle on dissection, but when you look at them under a microscope, they look very different. There's things in my arms and legs that my brain can consciously move and control and tell it where to go. Your stabilization muscles, you cannot do that. I'll give you an example. If you go to the bottom of your hairline, there's a little bump right there. That's your second bone in your neck called your C2 or your axis. I want everybody right now, without moving your head, without moving your shoulders, and without moving your neck, I want you to move your C2. I'll wait. You can't do that because that muscle doesn't have the regular skeletal muscle around it. It only has stabilization muscles. Now, what makes stabilization muscles a little different is they have tons and tons of neurological connections, hundreds more than anywhere else. And so their job is to keep your eyes level at all costs. So we cannot outstretch these stabilization muscles. We have to take the stress off the stabilization muscles in order for them to work properly. So what's usually happening is your stabilization muscles are angry or irritated, and your skeletal muscles are trying to balance you out. You can stretch out a skeletal muscle and get a little bit of relief, but your stabilization muscle is still mad. And only chiropractors are trying to find and get rid of that pressure on there. So what happens is when the stabilization muscle is mad, what we find out is that you have a restricted joint. The joint doesn't want to move anymore because the stabilization muscle won't allow it to move more and create bigger problems. It's trying to protect you. It can also irritate the nerves because these nerves are fighting the stabilization muscle over and over and over again, and the stabilization muscle now is dominant where the normal nerve flow no longer is. And this leads to more guarding and more fatigue because it's working so hard to keep you from causing more damage. And over time, as this one area is pinching down and bearing down on this one joint so you don't hurt it more, you start to compensate other spots because your other stabilization muscles kick in and say the eyes have to stay level. So if my lower back is out and I'm leaning to the right, now those stabilization muscles are locked up tight. They're not allowing me to move a certain way, putting extra stress on some of my larger skeletal muscles, which I can stretch and get a temporary relief, but it does nothing for the stabilization muscles. And the longer I wait to correct the stabilization muscles, the more the rest of my spine compensates. And now all of a sudden I have 2 issues, not 1. So when does stretching help? Stretching helps when the muscles actually shortened. If you tuned in last week, I had talked about people who sit behind a too long and their shoulders roll forward. And as they're always rolled forward, the pectoral muscles actually will shorten over time because you're not using them. And then when I tell you to have good posture, it's almost hard to stand up in good posture because you've shortened these muscles so much for being wrong so long. So going into a door frame, grabbing that and sticking your chest out big and stretching those pectoral muscles will help lengthen them so you can get your shoulder posture back from sitting too much. So there's a great benefit to stretching. As I told you in the beginning, I'm not against stretching. It does great things. But again, it's how to keep a healthy person healthy, not get a sick person. So chiropractic adjustments with stretching? Absolutely. You get your adjustment, then stretch, because now you're in the right place. Now you know where you need to be. Now your muscle memory is where we want it. Now it's time to reinforce it. Now it's time to kick it in. Who am I reaching out to today? I'm reaching out to that friend of yours that's looking for that magical stretch. We all know that person because they're always stretching because it doesn't seem to hold very long. So if you know somebody that's had lower back pain and neck and shoulder pain, but let's talk about lower back pain, and they're always stretching now. They have the newest stretch. Oh, hey, why do you see this new stretch I came up with? Oh, hey, I just watched somebody on social media. I get a new stretch that's going to fix everything. Or you know why your lower back hurts? You don't know my magical stretch. That person's probably having 2 vertebrae that are getting really stuck underneath there. And the ones above and below are becoming hypermobile, and the degenerative disc disease is probably starting to kick in those discs. So this is the person we're looking for. This is the person we want to talk to. And we want to get you adjusted. Then we want to teach you how to stretch specifically for what's going on in your spine so you can keep a healthy back healthy. Here at Rockford, we actually work with people down the street at the gym called Movement Fitness all the time. We tell them what we see on the x-rays, and they customize stretching routines for them after we see them. So they'll come here, get adjusted by me, and then go down the street and work out. It's a great relationship we have here. If you're a chiropractor is not Rockford. Hopefully your chiropractor has the same relationships that can help your lower back pain. But here in Rockford, when you have lower back pain, we have people that we work with also besides just us. Yeah. So if you have that friend that constantly keeps stretching, I think they know the secret or found the right trainer or the right person online, but they continue to have the problem, have them go see a chiropractor. We'll work with them. We'll tell them to stretch, but we'll tell them when, where, and how, and when it's good to do it and when it's not so good to do it. Remember, chiropractic is a cause-based chiropractic solution for lower back pain. We're looking for the cause of lower back pain. We're not looking at the symptoms. We're non-medical. We have long-term solution, long-term working with you to make this an ongoing thing to make sure it doesn't keep coming back. So thank you for tuning in. And if you have questions about chiropractic or chiropractic pain or chiropractic issues, only a chiropractor is uniquely trained to answer these questions. And then come back here next week because I've been asked questions about should I see a chiropractor or a physical therapist for my lower back pain. And here in Rockford, we have a neat answer to that because we actually work with a physical therapy place in town. So thanks for tuning in. Come back next week.